Hey everyone, it's Bennett, your fantasy football commissioner, back for another week of the weekly recap. Let me get the preview in here so I can make sure my head's not blocking anything. I'm actually doing this from a restaurant, getting some wings on election night before bowling. So hopefully you can hear me. Hopefully there's not too much crowd noise. But sorry I missed last week, but we're back with week 9. And believe it or not, we've only got 5 weeks left in the regular season. It's flying by. So here we go with the recap. It wasn't last week was actually much more exciting, and I'm sorry that I did not do the recap. But this week was not a lot of close games, as you can see from the scoreboard. There's really only 2 close games, but one of them did come down to Monday night. So let's start there. The Tough Luck Somerset Stallions lose by 4 points, 154 to 150, to the Slim Aussies, who continue to lead the Mish division, and they go to 7-2 with the best record in the league. And the Stallions have lost 5 in a row, which is brutal. As you can see, it was a 4-point game, and I got to give the Stallions a little bit of a bonehead move award. So Cooper Kupp on the bench. Now I know he was coming back from an injury, but to have Cooper Kupp on the Rams back against New Orleans, which was expected to be a shootout and actually turned out to be a shootout, on the bench really cost him the game, because in its place he had Cole Beasley. He only had 3 catches for 16 yards. That was definitely the difference. That 15-point swing would have easily put the Stallions in the win column. But alas, it wasn't meant to be. It still came down to Monday night. After Julian Edelman's 16 points on Sunday night, they were up by 6 or 7 points. So really it came down to whether Ezekiel Elliott could net 7 or 8 more points than Cole Beasley. And even though Elliott did not have a spectacular night, and I did not watch the game because it was the Titans and the Cowboys, and this is one of the first times I just decided not to watch, even though I did have fantasy implications. Ezekiel Elliott squeaked out just enough, and again, Cole Beasley only with 3 catches for 16 yards. Not going to get it done, and unfortunately the Stallions lose their 5th in a row to fall to 3-6. Other games, the Cole Beasley Cooper Kupp move was only was the second place for the bonehead move of the week, because this might be bonehead move of the year. We have First Down Order, who's very up and down, have had some beginner's luck, and overall are 5-4, but have been a little all over the place this year. But they get the Bonehead Move Award because they had the Rams defense, again, in an expected shootout against the Saints, in place of the Bears defense, who is the best fantasy defense in the league, easily, and they played the worst offensive team in the league, Buffalo. What could go wrong other than it being on the road? There was no way that the Bears defense wasn't going to get some points, and they ended up with 27 points. The Rams had -1 point, and wouldn't have made the difference, but it definitely made for an ugly, ugly score with only 85 points. And Show Me Your TDs wins to go to 3-5-1, so they're hanging on to the playoffs, or to the playoff, staying alive in playoffs barely. And they get a nice 154-point. The Deshaun Watson, DeAndre Hopkins combo is great. Josh Gordon hasn't gone back to rehab yet, so he's still. And of course, now that he's on the Patriots, Tom Brady makes him look like a superstar again. So just nice consistency, even with several people on a bye. And Show Me Your TDs wins 154 to 85. Bonehead move of the year for First Down Order. Moving on, we have the Colon Cleansers, who just can't quite get over the hump, and they've lost 4 in a row. They did score a respectable 138 points, but just not enough. Look at all these buys. Everyone that could play did play, except for the backup defense. Fournette's been off, hasn't played. I was just looking at Fournette. I mean, this is unbelievable. This guy's 21 years old, been in the league 2 years. He can't get on the field. He's been on the field twice this whole year. So obviously that's a big reason why the Colon Cleansers aren't doing much this year. Tevin Coleman had a great game against Washington, but just not quite enough, especially with all these people on a bye and Leonard Fournette not doing anything anyway. Third and Oolong has won their 2nd in a row. They go to 5-4, and they're definitely in contention for the playoffs. We'll look at the standings later, but Christian McCaffrey's been great. If you look at his points every week, he's been in double digits. He's had several in the 20s, so he's just been really consistent. Not a lot of touchdowns, but definitely consistent all year. Matt Ryan's been really good, and of course Antonio Brown continues to be amazing. And just a nice consistent day for Third and Oolong. They go to 5-4 with their second in a row, so they went from 3-4 to 5-4, and they had a lot of buys as well, but they get the win. A couple more games to cover before my food gets here. Hopefully it'll get here right at the right time. We have Ray Finkel's Kicking Academy also at 5-4. We've got basically the whole MASH division at 5-4. They've been up and down as well, but they get a very respectable 168 points. Cam Newton's been awesome. I mean, those top three right there, you got the two quarterbacks who are just going to put up points all year. I think Cam's just going to get better and better. And, of course, Kareem Hunt is just one of many people on the Chiefs' offense that's scoring tons of points. Julio Jones finally got into the end zone, and just a lot of points everywhere. McCoy, it'll be interesting to see if McCoy can be healthy because he's been hurt, and plus he's on a team with not a good offense. So McCoy's a key there for the Finkel. If he can get some stability for the Bills, with their crappy quarterback situation, might turn out good for Finkel. We also have Graceland, who scored a lot of points, just had too many buys, had A.G. Green out on a bye, Nelson Aguilar, not Josh Rosen. I'm not even going to mention Josh Rosen, but definitely you can see Kareem Hunt canceled out Patrick Mahomes. Kansas City, whoever Graceland plays is always going to have a risk of canceling out Pat Mahomes this year because there's so many other offensive weapons. Kenyon Drake's been up and down. Demaryius Thomas, probably take at least a couple weeks on his new team. I think that's going to be great with Will Fuller out. Houston's got a great second receiver in Demaryius Thomas, but not this week, and just too many single digits points to overcome Ray Finkel with, I think, the league high of 168 on the week, if I remember correctly. No, second high. And we'll get to the league high now, which is Catonsville Cartel, who really have had a little bit of bad luck this year. Same with the Travelers. It seems like the Travelers and the Cartel are always playing each other and, just always in close games. And even though they're both scoring a ton of points, they're both having a little bit of bad luck. So they were both 4-4, and so the Cartel goes over 500 with a win. Even with, I think there was Mariota on the bench. I mean, that's pick 'em between Flacco and Mariota, who's going to get the most points out in a given week. So there's no shame in that, picking the wrong guy there. But with Saquon Barkley and Joe Mixon on a bye, to get 176 points is great. I think Cartel probably have the deepest team, with Connor obviously being great in spite of, with Le'Veon Bell being out. Connor's basically slipped right in. And just a very deep team. Obviously, Michael Thomas had that 200-yard game for the Saints. I mean, you can't beat that. Maybe two, obviously like to see a couple more touchdowns, but you can't beat 12 catches for 211 yards and a touchdown for Michael Thomas. So definitely the deepest team in the league, survives a running back by getting 176 points. And again, the Travelers just always seem to have a little tough luck. They had tons of buys. Especially the Eagles guys being on buys didn't help. Tyler Boyd's been really good. So the buys really hurt the Travelers this week. And so that's it for the games this week. Again, not too many close games, not a ton of scoring. There were 6 teams on a bye, so that's not shocking. Let's take a look at the standings. I mentioned the whole MASH division at 5-4. Obviously, it's just the top 3 teams. And I always, of course, like to sort the points for, because that'll determine whether a team's got bad luck or if they really deserve to be where they are. So you have the MASH division. You have 3 teams at 5-4. And you have Third and Oolong with the most points, so they're definitely where they need to be. And Finkel and First Down. So not a ton of points other than Third and Oolong, but definitely if you sort it by points, the standings are right where they should be. And then in the MASH division, You could sort of trade the Slim Aussies and the Cartel. The Slim Aussies have definitely benefited from some close wins, and the Travelers definitely with a lot of points. So they've had tough luck. And you have the one team. There's that one team that doesn't score any points, but somehow is 6-3, and that's Graceland. So we'll see if that holds through to the end of the year, or if that catches up to the Graceland. So there's your stats, your standings for the week, and we go into week 10. I'm not even going to look at the playoff bracket yet because we have 5 weeks left. So as always, make sure you check your buys, check your injuries, and get your lineups in. And pay me if you have not yet. And have a great week, everyone. Thanks for listening.